Welcome everyone to Charts Focus 1, where we teach you how to work hard and trade smart. All right, let's go ahead and start off with the markets. So SPY last week had a very interesting week. It was very volatile, but we ended up on a positive note on Friday. So what happened was that we continued to reject from the daily 50 SMA, this dark blue line here, and this $400 psychological whole number level. And so when we rejected, we continued to come back down to retest this extended descending level of previous resistance. And the only reason why I say previous is that after retesting it 3 times, as seen on these 3 daily candlesticks, we continued to hold above it and used it as support, as seen by this Thursday and Friday candlesticks from last week. And so these 2 bottom wicks tell me that buyers are ready to step in whenever we come back to retest this previous descending level of resistance and turn it into a new level of descending support. And so on Friday, that's exactly what we did for a 3rd time. And also, we're able to retest the daily 200 SMA. Now, I'm pretty bullish into this new week because number one, if you take a look at the 10 and the 21 SMAs, now if you guys remember, this is my momentum pair in the short-term perspective. The 10 SMA is starting to curl up higher. And whenever I see this, there's a possibility for the 10 SMA crossing over the 21, creating a bullish sign for the short-term trend. And so if we're able to see the 10 SMA cross over this week, there's most likely a chance that the price will continue to go up higher and ultimately retest 400 once more. But that means that we need to be able to see a remount, well, first of all, a retest of the daily 50 SMA, and then a remount, and then retest the 400 level here, and remount this level as well for us to at least get over last week's high, which was at 402.49. All right. Now, on the weekly time frame, all right, things look a little bit better compared to last week. And if you remember, I said that the weekly time frame was looking quite bearish because of the fact that we have closed below the 10, the 21, and the 50 SMAs on the weekly time frame. But now we have recovered back over the weekly 50 SMA, which is very, very critical, as I've been saying since, well, all of last year. Okay. And we have also reclaimed and remounted the weekly 21 SMA. The only thing that I'm concerned about now is that the 10 SMA can continue to become a resistance area on the weekly time frame, as we saw last week. Right? So again, on the daily time frame, everything looks very, very bullish because of the fact that we've ended such on a positive note on Friday. And we're about to see the 10 SMA crossing over the 21, especially if we continue to see an uptrend and possibly back to last week's highs and a breakage over last week's highs. All right. So make sure you guys remember that we need to get over 396 either by tomorrow or anytime this week to continue this uptrend higher and retest 400 and be able to stay over 400 by the end of this week. And ideally, I want us to retest 402.50 or at least the previous week's high at 402.49, which is just a single cent away from that 402.50 level. Okay, so with that in mind, let's take a look at our first name. BHVN. So this one is a very volatile biotech name, and the reason why I say volatile is that, well, first of all, it's a biotech name, and second, this is a recent IPO. Okay, this became public back in late September of last year, And it hasn't even been a full year yet since this name has been public. So those are the two main reasons why this is a very volatile name. And so that should be a warning sign. However, this name could be providing us with a very nice range trading type of opportunity. So if I go on the weekly time frame first, right, we're making very clear levels. We have a huge support level at $12.50 and a huge resistance level at $17 and around 50 cents. Now specifically it's around 17.40, but I kind of want to round up to that whole number level to 17.50. And so with that in mind on the weekly time frame, if you go on the daily, there is a possibility for us to see an early entry this week over 14.50. And just like SPY, this one is potentially about to see a bullish crossover and an indication by the 10 crossing over the 21. You can clearly tell that the 10 is starting to curl up higher as we did back here, okay? And also back over here, all right? And so if we are able to see this crossover, then that means the price is most likely going to continue higher as it did on Friday. And that's the reason why we have an early entry point around 14.50. And you can clearly see this level on the 2-hour time frame as well. Now, if you guys want to get a confirmation entry, over $15 will be your confirmation. Why? Well, by the time we get to that $15 whole number area, I would assume that the 10 SMA has crossed over the 21, giving us more confidence for a bullish run to the upside. Now, for any type of price targets, well, I'll be looking at around 16.50 for the first profit target, and then ultimately that 17.40 or 17.50 as my final profit target area. Okay, so this one, make sure you keep a good eye on this one, because if you do break out, this one tends to have a very, very strong move if it starts a new trend, just like we saw right over here, and as we saw right over here, right? So an uptrend and a downtrend, very, very strong moves to either side. Okay, so our second name here is ABT. So I know you guys have been hearing about ABT from me since last week because there is some interesting stuff going on with this name, technical wise. And, on this technical chart here, we're seeing a potential double bottom, right? Be more apparent if you go on the weekly time frame, right? So on the weekly time frame, we have the first bottom on the left here, and then the second bottom on the right here. And that's the reason why we had this ascending support trend line to kind of connect these 2 points. And so if I want this double bottom to play through this week, we need to break over $99, okay, this whole number level. And it was used as a previous level of resistance and support back in late 2020. And so if we're able to break over 99 again, I want us to see an explosive run up higher, as we just saw in our first pivot bounce here, this pivot low bounce, or our first bottom here for this double bottom potential chart pattern. And so if we're able to break over 99, I want to see at least a very, very large reaction as we saw on this weekly candlestick. But if there is an early entry opportunity, all right, there is a chance for you to just get in if the price breaks over the previous high of the day, which was on Friday's candlestick. And the Friday's high of the day was 98.08, which is why I gave you guys an early entry point at $98.10. Okay, so 98.10. Now, I love the fact that we closed on Friday over the 10 SMA, and I love the fact that we've been basically consolidating near the 10 SMA as we try to close over it multiple times but fail. However, because of this consolidation, we're allowed to see that the price is sticking to this 10 SMA, which could mean that we are potentially near the point where the price will hold over the 10 SMA and ultimately retest the 21 SMA. And then ultimately at the end, we'll see a breakout over $99 and over the 10 and the 21 SMAs. And at that point, I would also expect to see the 10 SMA crossing over the 21, giving us more confidence to be bullish to the long side and to the upside. All right, so our third name here is Amazon. I want to look at this name again, and also because I am in this name, right, from last week, and hopefully you guys are in as well. And so Amazon is making a pretty nice bull flag on the daily. So we have this huge level of resistance at $101, okay? And we're currently seeing a higher lows situation. So this is something that you always want to see when uptrend is about to start, right? Higher lows is essentially the key factors into inducing a larger uptrend move higher. Now, we don't yet have the higher highs yet because we just only made one higher high point, which is the reason why I want us to break over this $101 level this week so that we can at least break over or at least retest last week's high of $102.10. And you can clearly see that on the weekly time frame as well. Now, while we're here on the weekly time frame, I love the fact that the 10 SMA has already crossed over the 21 SMA about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And so on the weekly time frame, this looks great. However, okay, the reason why I want to show you this weekly time frame is that there could be a chance that last week's highs was a lower high point compared to the most recent high point, which was at $114 on this candlestick. Okay, so if this was a potential second lower high point from this very first one, then there's a good chance that Amazon can actually break below. I'll keep you guys updated on that as the week goes on here. And so, with that in mind, okay, I'm not going to be too wavered on the fact that there could be, again, a potential for last week's high to be the second lower high point compared to $114 here. But if I just focus on the daily time frame, we look very bullish, all right? Just based on the SMAs, the 10 SMA has crossed over the 21 already last week, and on Friday, we saw the 10 SMA crossing over the 50 as well. So that means the overall trend for the short-term perspective is to the upside. And I love the fact that we held over both the 50 and the 10 and closing over it and closing out at $98.13. And so, again, if you guys want to get in early, just get in through the previous high of the day, and Friday's high was $98.30, which is the reason why I gave you guys that $98.50 early entry. But again, if you guys want to get a confirmation entry point, over $101 will be that confirmation entry point for a larger breakout to the upside. And ultimately, I want to see a larger move to $104, which will be my profit target for any of these two entry points. Okay, so next we have MU. So MU has been a very, very strong semiconductor so far. And I love the fact that we saw this very, very large impulsive move higher. However, before I delve in further, we do have earnings on Tuesday of this week. So this one can either break out thanks to earnings or absolutely get smashed right back down, erasing all these gains from last week and last week. Who knows? It's a 50-50. But again, just know that we have earnings. Now, I love the fact that we have been running up into earnings, and that's usually a great sign, an indication of what's to come. But again, earnings is a 50-50 probability. So MU here, if there weren't any earnings, this looks really good because in the daily time frame, we have created an inside day candlestick on Friday, which indicates that there could be a continuation to the upside, right? So this inside day candlestick has indicated on Friday that there is a potential for this larger uptrend to continue higher. Now, if somehow Monday, tomorrow, we see a larger move down, there's a possibility for us to retest $59. So this was a level of previous support and resistance as seen here and here and even over here. All right, so it's resistance around here, okay, and it was used as support right over here. And so if we do come back down to retest 59, I want us to see a nice early entry at $59 if there is a bounce. And that will also give us a chance for the 10 and 21 SMA to catch up as the price is kind of overextended far away from these two short-term SMAs. And I love the fact that the 10 SMA has crossed over the 21 and the 200 as well. And for the fact that we also have a very, very important crossover, the 50 over the 200. Okay, so this is a very, very important part of this name for the longer term uptrend, right? This is a golden cross where we have the 50 SMA crossing over the 200 SMA, right? Now, the only thing that I'm looking at MU is basically a day trade, right? Because of earnings. And so if you go on the 2-hour time frame, right, we're looking at a very nice bull flag after this large impulsive run up. And I love the fact that we're consolidating between 60.50 and 61.80. So if you're able to break over the 61.80 or at least last week's high, right, we should be able to see a nice long confirmed entry point over $62. So what I basically did was round up that 61.84 to the upside, basically. And I'm looking at this whole number level of $62 as our confirmation entry point. All right. And so again, this can become a swing, but again, I will not advise it because we have earnings on Tuesday. So hopefully we can get a nice entry point tomorrow for a nice day trade gain. All right, so our last name here is NET or NET. So I love NET here because as a software tech name, it's been holding up really well, right? And the markets have been, grinding up higher, especially the tech sector, but this one has been lagging, right? And for the fact that we're seeing higher highs and higher lows, while we just remounted the 10 SMA and the 50 SMA on the daily time frame, tells me that there's potential for this one to have a nice explosive run up to the upside. And the only resistance level that we need to get over is $58, which is the reason why I gave you guys one entry point here to the long side of $58.10. Or if you guys want to wait, okay, for more confirmation, look for an entry point over $58.50. But again, I wouldn't really advise it because $58 is kind of the perfect entry point here. I mean, you just can't really look for 58.50 because there really isn't a more of an established level on the daily time frame. But if you go down to the intraday time frames, like the 2-hour, there is a possibility for you to get an entry point at 58.50 because there is a level on the intraday time frames like the 2-hour. So this just tells you that you can get multiple perspectives from different time frames, especially if you go from the bigger one to the smaller time frames. And so again, I would prefer to have 58 since that is an easy number to work with, right? $58.10 for an exact entry point. But again, this one looks amazing to the upside if we do decide to break over 58 or even just 58.50. Now, if you go back to the daily time frame, okay, I love the fact that this one has also seen a bullish crossover or a golden cross of the 50 over the 200 SMA. And I'm also loving the fact, again, this is a theme across most of our names for this week, the 10 SMA curling over, to the upside and potentially crossing over the daily 50 SMA and possibly even the 21 SMA. Now, so for this name here, okay, so if I take out the candlesticks, right, I would expect the 21 SMA to start curling downward, which is doing now, right? It's currently doing this now. And that will allow the 10 SMA to catch up and kind of squeeze the distance here that these two have and get closer and closer until it reaches that converging point of that 21 SMA and cross over that. And so if that does happen, then I would expect the price to start breaking over $58 and well on its way towards $60, 61, and eventually $62. Now, ideally, I want the maximum profit target to be at $64, which was a major level of resistance. Again, this was the major level of resistance on the daily time frame when we had our initial big run up to the upside. All right, that is it for this video. If this technical analysis video was insightful, make sure you leave a like down below. And if you aren't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Good luck, and I'll see you all tomorrow morning.